I grew 100,000 subscribers in 75 days, technically from around 2,000 to 110, but 100,000 sounds cooler, so let's just go with that. Whether you're curious about how I grew so quickly or you want to grow your own channel, this is for you. I definitely manifested this because it was so unconventional how quickly I grew. I absolutely studied the blade, but I also didn't listen to any of the same old boring advice, even though I spent a lot of time looking up YouTube growth tips. Because at the end of the day, it really wasn't about my incredible video editing skills, although I just got a video editor, so shout out to him. It sometimes was my personality, but also not always. I definitely had a strategy, but manifestation got me there. If you're hesitating about getting started, I can tell you that there's never too many YouTubers or content creators out there because there's always room for someone like you. There's no one else like you, and you can never be a better version of anyone else. Many of my subscribers have watched me manifest 100,000 subscribers when I was only at 30,000. In my Embodying is the Life Cheat Code video, because 6 weeks after I published it, I got to 100,000. In that video, I was acting like I already got my 100,000 by overlaying a fake YouTube silver play button, and I told you that I was going to achieve 100,000 with manifestation. And now I got my silver play button right here. Yay! I was so excited at first, but then it became not so much of a big deal anymore because I already knew that it was a matter of time before I got it. I had been expecting this for months. This silver play button is only a physical manifestation. It happened for so many people, so it's going to happen to me eventually, and then maybe you if you watch this video to the end. So my very first tip to you is to act like you already have 100,000 subscribers and make your videos accordingly, because trust me, the way you approach making videos as someone with 1 subscriber versus someone with 100,000 is going to be very different. So you need to act like you're already there. But in the rest of the video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. By the way, hi, I'm Nay and welcome to my channel. So I created my channel simply because I wanted to help people in the way that I can. So I help my subscribers become their best selves physically, mentally, and spiritually, and possibly also run the best YouTube channels ever with my channel strategy. So if you want to improve yourself and you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. By the way, shout out to my patrons on Patreon as well as my incredible YouTube community. To me, you guys are my chosen family, and also the way that you support each other and show up for each other on my Discord community. It's just so beautiful to see, and I love that. If you're not a subscriber yet, I hope you join us because we really got each other and we got you too. By the way, if you want to talk about your specific YouTube channel strategy, feel free to email me because I've helped grow social media for influencers and brands before. I can do the same for you. So first of all, you should be very clear about your motivations and your goals, but you should really want to do YouTube because you love making the content that you're making, not because you want to make money, but because you want to make money doing what you love. Understand your own purpose and know why you want to grow to 100,000 subscribers. That's something that you need to figure out for yourself, or else you're going to be a bit lost. I specifically didn't want a hobbyist, post whatever I want type of channel. I wanted to reach as many people as possible and ultimately become a net positive force in the world. And if I could somehow make money off of it during that process, that's my dream life. But I also wanted to start from just helping one person, which then led to 5 and then 30 and so on. So that to me is already success. And I found that almost immediately with my first video because I got 30 views and I was like, yay, I helped 30 people. But those were only baby steps to get to my big goal. So if you want to grow your channel, definitely have an immediate and then a big dream goal in mind. I don't know if you want to hear my motivations for starting my YouTube channel, but I'll share that towards the end of the video. As for my goals, I was pretty clear about it. I wanted to do what I love. I wanted to share my knowledge with people, and if I get paid to do it, that's building my dream life. I always knew that I was going to get to 100,000 subscribers. I just didn't know when, but I was aiming to become monetized in under a year and then reach 100,000 in 2 to 3 years. And then eventually shoot for the stars, 1 million, 5 million. But I became monetized in 3 months at 2,000 subscribers, and then I hit about 110,000 in about 75 days after that. So set your goals and don't be afraid to dream bigger, because I definitely could afford to dream bigger, but I didn't. So now I'm thinking maybe 5 or 10 million. Why not? You can always dream bigger. My biggest regrets in life was that I didn't dream big enough, so I will do that from now on. I had no backup plan when I started my YouTube channel. Last year I hit my rock bottom in my life. At the time I was so broken that there was nowhere else to go for me except up. But I just knew that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life working for other people anymore, for a boss at an office, and I just truly wanted to find my calling and help other people find theirs. So I spent all my time looking up how to get a following on YouTube, how to create great content that people want to watch. I was extremely brutally honest with myself because I wasn't the very best video editor. I don't have the most natural gift of the gab yet, like some YouTubers do who can just talk endlessly for days. days, but maybe I'll get there someday. But I did have everything that I learned from my own healing journey, as well as the things I'm educated on. So I was able to teach people what I learned. My biggest advice to you is to know what you're good at and what you're not good at so that you can do more of what works for you and do less of what doesn't. Your concept of who you are as a person and who you are as a YouTuber is very important. Putting a camera in front of yourself and filming it for the world to see, literally that forces you to examine every single part of yourself. And if you're as brutal as I am, nobody can be a harsher judge than you are with yourself. So I think it's really important to remember to be kind to yourself, but also maintain your drive so you can keep going and create that bulletproof strategy that keeps you at peak function no matter what happens. Because I'm going to be very honest with you, no matter what you do, no matter how positive you are always going to be getting some negative comments here and there, but don't let that deter you, because those people's opinions, they really don't matter because they're not putting themselves out there like you are. So on top of watching a ton of YouTube videos just to get to know the platform better, I also built many skills of my own. And one of the platforms that I use to do that is Skillshare, which is the largest online learning platform with thousands of videos built for creatives, and it's all taught by industry experts. As a YouTuber, you are basically a solo entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs have to learn a lot of skills at once. So Skillshare is the perfect platform to learn skills like storytelling, graphic design, videography, how to edit your videos, how to use AI, even marketing, web development, and so on. I used their learning paths like this one on how to grow your first YouTube channel, and it's a curation of classes that teach you how to script, shoot, and then edit your first video, how to speak confidently on camera, and all kinds of tips and tricks on how to grow your YouTube channel. If you want to take your learning to the next level, I definitely recommend Skillshare. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So that's 1 month to learn whatever you want completely for free. So get started today, and thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I honestly don't know if I could have found the same success so quickly if I treated it just like a weekend hobby or like a part-time job. I sometimes would work longer hours than I did at a full-time job, but it's also because I choose to. It makes me happy, and at least I get to choose when I work and for how long. So I found a lot of freedom in that, even though I worked really hard. So if you're working a 9 to 5, I would advise you and recommend you to do YouTube as your 5 to 9. Maybe sacrifice a couple of weekends and see if it's something that you really like to do, because you really do need that commitment to see the results. And in order to not get discouraged, you need to genuinely love what you're doing and go all in on it. Even when it comes to manifestation, right? When I say that it's done, it's done. I already have 100,000 YouTube subscribers, but you need to then put in the work. Also, the first thing that you need to understand about social media, and specifically YouTube, is that it's a game, and every game has its own specific coding and steps and strategies on how to get those numbers and how to level up. So if you do it and do it intelligently or strategically, you will win. And I'm a gamer. To me, in order to succeed at YouTube, you need at least 2 out of these 3 things. 1, quality video. 2, aesthetics or personality. 3, value. 1 is pretty self-explanatory because obviously you will be drawn to amazing video editing and high quality content with high retention rate, although these are all trends that kind of come and go. But you will probably watch a clean and smooth 4K footage more so than the pixelated, blurry, and shaky camera footage. You don't even need an expensive camera to do this. You can just use your smartphone. And if you're talking a lot, your audio quality needs to be very good. The first thing that I invested in gear was a ring light and a good quality mic. And if you're interested in my current gear, I will link all of that in my description box or in my LTK shop, which you can find my link in bio. So number 2, pretty privilege is real, because I clearly didn't know my good angles in my earliest videos, and it was hard for me to grow my channel at first. Also, different camera lenses will make you look different. So I found a chart here, you can take a look at it. But once I figured out what camera to use, how to position the camera and look good, I think it really helped the way that people perceived me. It's a harsh truth, but it's the truth. If you don't have pretty privilege, or if you don't think you do, like, first of all, work on your self-concept, but you can also lean into your personality as well, because there are so many YouTubers that I love who just have the greatest energy and personality. I don't even care how they look. Like, I guess they look good to me, but seriously guys, charisma will outdo pretty privilege any day. But even for me, I work on being very engaging in front of the camera. I'm always moving my hands. I'm very energetic. I'm putting in so much more than just having a regular conversation with someone. But the YouTubers that I love, I only remember how fun and cool and how entertaining they are and how helpful they are to me. So then there's also good graphics, like if you're into animation or motion graphics, or even just have really great aesthetic design sensibilities. This is where you can really shine and showcase your talent and your eye for design. 3, providing value. You're giving people what they want and then some. You're teaching people something new. You're being helpful to them. That's my favorite favorite kind of YouTube because YouTube is like my life university. People are on here because they either want to be entertained or they want to learn something. So make sure you want to deliver on that. So how do you know what to deliver? This is a lot of soul searching, but also studying the platform. I simply observe YouTube by studying it for hours. I'm combing through the homepage constantly, seeing what worked for other people by identifying what's going viral, the types of videos that YouTube thinks I'm interested in, the types of videos that people are interested in, and also what's popping off in the niche of videos that I want to make, what I'm interested in, and what I would want to see as an audience member. And then I structured my strategy accordingly. So you have to become hyper aware of numbers and what people want to watch. I knew what sort of videos that the people that I want to connect with wanted. I knew what kind of information I was good at conveying, and then I turned on my Sigma grind set and I played to win. You need to step outside of your head almost and look at YouTube as one of your audience members and think about what you want to watch. If you don't know who to appeal to yourself first, because if you won't even watch your own YouTube videos, why would anyone else? Which brings me to my next point. YouTube is like any other social media platforms. It's all about the audience. So that means it's not so much about the algorithm, because the algorithm is only there as a result of how people are reacting and it's learning their behaviors. So it's about you as the viewer. I focus on what you want to see from me. Most of the time, I see YouTubers struggling to grow their following because they posted whatever they wanted, which is completely fine. We should all be allowed to do that. And I post whatever I want technically, but in order to build a following and to see it as a possible career path, we need to carve out a brand that attracts viewers. Know exactly who you're appealing to. My content is not for everybody, but that's completely okay if it's for you. If you serve everyone, you serve no one. By defining a brand that attracts viewers, that means that the people that we want to reach already needs to exist. And the bigger you want to grow, the bigger your audience sample size needs to be. You can make different kinds of videos and have multiple audience sample sizes if there's a common thread between all of it. Whether that's your vibrant personality, or for me it's to become better physically, mentally, and spiritually. So I'm appealing to people who want to seek that aspect of self-development. What wasn't so important was staying extremely on topic every single time. And I personally hate niches because it boxes us in when so many of us want to explore and do all kinds of things. But every time I have a video that was a hit, I basically was able to appeal to larger audience sizes, and it just keeps growing and growing because that's how YouTube videos go viral. They just keep appealing to bigger and bigger and bigger audience sample sizes. As a smaller YouTuber, you need to get attention, but because of the way people function, they tend to gravitate towards social proof and bigger channels and viral videos because they've already proven themselves. This is why small channels struggle and then they blame the algorithm, but really they need to work even harder to gain people's attention. I would say do what you need to do to get people to click. Say something a bit controversial, make people stop in their tracks, or even make an extremely eye-catching thumbnail. This was exactly what I did. And I think that consistency can be important for sure, because I've seen YouTube channels fall off the map if they don't post for a month or even a year. But I've also seen other YouTubers take long breaks and then come back like nothing happened. At the end of the day, I think it's about the value that you're providing to people. If you're delivering a lot of value and your words mean something to people, then people are not going to forget about you. That's my take on it. At first, the channel was all about me because it was ultimately my channel and what I wanted to focus on and what I wanted to make a lot of videos about. I committed to my topic, which is self-improvement, but I also wanted to branch out at some point. If you have an amazing personality, you can also absolutely make your personality your niche. That's actually the big goal. Ultimately, it's about whatever you want on your channel and what you can talk endlessly and freely about, or even present very well. And if you want to create the videos that many people want to watch, then study the videos that were watched by many. But I will say, especially as a smaller YouTuber, I think it's important to stay on topic for now so that people know and understand what you're about, so they want to subscribe to you. So at the time back in late September or early October, that's when I created my channel. I knew nothing about YouTube, but I started to watch videos. I was getting out of a big personal bad rut and my personal life was going haywire and I hit rock bottom. So I already knew that my first video on YouTube was going to be about getting out of rock bottom because I personally experienced it and nobody can ever deny your experience. I didn't see a lot of videos like the ones that I wanted to make, but I knew that the audience sample size out there must be pretty big because I love watching self-improvement videos on YouTube. I adored all these amazing YouTubers that are putting themselves out there, creating value and life-changing advice for people, and I thought I could do it too. I wanted to help people, so I started to study the data of videos that do well in the niche that I wanted to work in. I started to identify huge channels that are similar to what I wanted to become, as well as the behavior of their audience and what they wanted to watch. It's very simple to know what people want to watch, guys. Just look at the views on a video. So I became a data scientist, so to speak. I was starting to crunch the numbers, seeing what kind of videos do well and what they're missing out on so I can get in there and fill up the gaps. I saw a few channels in my niche grow hundreds of thousands of subscribers in only only a matter of months. So even before my first video, I knew it was possible for me to grow very quickly. I already had that affirmation in my mind and that self-belief that I could become successful if I stay focused, have a good strategy, and just grind basically. A lot of YouTube growth channels out there will say things like one video can change everything for you as a YouTuber, and that was actually true for me with my video on stoicism, which blew up about 5 months after I posted my very first video. But it was funny because I was almost not even going to post that video, and back in April I was going through a very traumatic event in my family and I was just having a really tough time mentally. I was almost about to give up, but I kept that video in my hard drive for a month. So then when I posted it, within that week I went from 2,000 to 10,000 subscribers, and then my subsequent videos just started multiplying in views like a snowball effect. Some of my older videos also blew up. I knew those older videos would blow up eventually, and I was disappointed to kind of see them end up stagnant at like 2,000 views at first, but then I would be like, oh wait, 2,000 people is a lot of people. I can't even imagine that physically fitting in my house. So I knew they had potential, but I was still very grateful. But once the snowball effect had started to happen, those videos that I thought deserved to have more views did eventually grow into hundreds of thousands of views. So yes, your video can absolutely go viral months or even years later. I've even seen 13-year-old videos go viral recently. You can also see that here's where I started to gain subscribers very quickly, and I was able to maintain about a 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers growth daily, and I still am growing at the same rate. So now I've blown past all of the YouTube growth channels that I watch, which is kind of funny. Make it very clear what you want to make and what your ideas are, because if you're confused, then your audience will definitely be confused. So know very clearly what you want, but also allow a little bit of unpredictability in your content so that you can find the next big video that works for you. And that's how you can grow even more. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again and it's not hitting, then that's the definition of insanity, right? Try something new every now and then. Every time I get a video that does well for me, it turns out that there were hundreds of thousands of people who were looking for a video like mine. They just haven't seen it yet because I didn't make it yet. No one knows for sure what's going to become a hit in advance, but there are some indicators, like YouTube has a content research function, for example. There's Google Trends. You can even look at what's going viral on other social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok, and then maybe you can react to it or do some kind of commentary about it. To me, it's also about social psychology and things like social proof. People simply like to hear about celebrities and famous people, familiar concepts like Disney and Netflix, for example, and they will look for the biggest trending topics on TikTok. And then there's more specific things like what are the biggest industries out there. Maybe you can talk about the beauty industry, the tech industry, food or health, and then make content related to these industries. If you want a large audience, you need to basically have an element of mass appeal in your content, because it's going to be hard to appeal to 10 million people if you want to talk about something incredibly super niche, like a channel on how to repair a corn harvester machine, or a review channel for the most obscure films that have less than 10 copies in the world and they're on DVD, for example. It's also a good idea to know what you're going to talk about ahead of time. Come up with content verticals, like for example, if you're a food vlogger, you can do a series for travel, you can do a series for home cooking, and then a series for what you eat in a week. This is so your audience doesn't get bored and you're able to appeal to a larger audience. So think of your content strategy as casting fishing nets of different baits, and you want to catch all of the fish in the ocean, and they all want something a little bit different. But then there's still that common thread that they're interested in, whether it's the overarching topic itself or your personality. You can use Notion, or I even just had a note on my notes app for a while where I wrote down every single video idea that I had, and then I would refine it by adding more and more points until it became a full-on video. And then make sure you can continue to deliver the quality of what you want to deliver on consistently. If you spend a month making one video because it needed 100 hours of editing, then that limits how many videos you can realistically produce. That will be you putting all your eggs in that one basket for that 1 month. So that video idea had better be extremely good. If you're just doing talking head videos like me, and it's a bit more simple and you can make more. So the amount of time that you spend making one video is something that you need to figure out and decide on. Like for me, I keep it very simple so I can keep over delivering on my own expectations and maintain my consistency. A good content strategy is a marathon, not a sprint, and it keeps the flames burning. If you're having trouble coming up with video ideas that go viral or how to package your videos, just imagine yourself as a journalist working in the newsroom. The goal is to get as many clicks as possible on an article and make your video newsworthy with a juicy headline. 80% of whether your video does well or not hinges on your title and thumbnail and your topic subject matter, because if nobody clicks on it, you're not going to get views. The other 20% is to make sure that you deliver on what you promise in your title and thumbnail. The best way to create a great video is to always over-deliver. A bit of clickbait is fine because everyone's used to it at this point and you want to get people to click, but don't straight up lie about what you're going to talk about, because once your audience figures that out, and people are very smart, I always say this, like you can't assume that people are not going to figure it out, because they will, and they find out that you're not going to deliver on what you promised, then they're going to stop watching, which is going to hurt your channel. So how do you package your title and thumbnail? This is a bit more subjective because it depends on your niche. For example, a Mr. Beast style video thumbnail is not going to work on my channel. And I don't think that I can really go for a lo-fi simplistic look because I do care about what you guys want to get out of my video. And I need you guys to know what you're getting into so you can decide on whether to click on my video or not. So I make it a point to appeal to people's intellectual curiosity and use contrast. This means appealing to things like the before and after, and I also use little caption hooks in my thumbnail as well to widen the curiosity gap so it makes it irresistible for people to click. I don't recommend doing things like repeating your title on your thumbnail because that's two different chances, opportunities to convince people to click on your video. So use that wisely. You always want to increase your click-through rate and your average video duration so that YouTube knows that you're over-delivering on content and that people are hooked on what you have to offer. So really quickly, I wanted to go over my process. I basically turn my chicken scratch page of video ideas into a full-on video schedule. So every week I'll work on my video ideas, write down everything, and then I will gather my research and then decide on what to film that week. And then I'll sit myself in front of the camera like I'm doing right now with my ring light and start talking. I usually film an hour's worth of just straight yapping and then edit it down into like 20 minutes of video. And you don't even need fancy video editing software to get started. When I first started, I used Premiere Pro, which I thought that the learning curve was a bit too steep for beginners. So I switched over to using DaVinci Resolve, which is free by the way, but you can use CapCut as well because that's also free. And once I was done editing my videos, I would then export it and then upload it onto YouTube. And while I wait, I like to make my thumbnail. Most YouTubers usually recommend that you have your thumbnail ready to go before you even start filming, but I basically have the concept in my head already, and I would have already written down all of the hooks that I want to have in my thumbnail. And now that YouTube has finally released the A/B thumbnail testing functionality, I make different versions of my thumbnails and see what resonates the most. I have to be honest, with YouTube, I have my own motivations. And as a YouTuber, you need to figure out what you're passionate about and what you're motivated by. So I'll tell you mine because one of them is I was a little bit fueled by vengeance a little bit because at my last job, I was a young director running an entire department. I worked very hard at every single job that I had. So at this job, they recognized my efforts and I moved up the ranks pretty quickly. But also because I was a young director, I experienced a bit of jealousy from my coworkers. I knew deep down that I had to leave eventually and build my own thing. And I was eventually let go. And one of the reasons why was because they replaced me with an agency. And I didn't like them at all at first because they were these podcast bros who were super elitist and annoying. So that agency was helping them with their YouTube channel strategy, even though they had zero experience in it. At the time, I knew nothing about YouTube either. And I have to be honest with you, I didn't even know I was going to be a YouTuber like even a year ago. And they got rid of me even though I poured my heart and soul into that job. So guys, don't ever get attached to your job because at the end of the day, if they don't think they need you anymore, they will get rid of you so fast just to save a bit of money. So think for yourself and save your own butt before they kick yours. Also, ultimately, it was a very poor financial decision for them. They only got 100 subscribers at the end of the day before they seemingly abandoned the channel. Even though I'm assuming they probably spent my entire year's salary on that YouTube channel, allegedly. But I knew I could do better with my eyes closed. So I did it and I feel very vindicated for it. I told nobody about my YouTube channel, by the way, at the beginning, besides my partner and my mom, until I saw a bit of success. And to me, when I first started, even that was one too many people that I told. My subscribers will understand why that is. I made an entire video about it. I didn't want anyone I knew to know about my business at first, because even when I started to see some success, not a lot of people who I personally knew actually supported me. It was very few people, and they are the real ones. But most people were definitely watching. I always say this in my videos, and I will keep saying it. Most people hate seeing you do better than them. But if they truly are supported while watching you win, and they want to see you win, they want everyone around them to win, they are the real ones. I know a few people that I can really count on with my one hand who are like that, who are very supportive, and they are so rare. If you are friends with someone like that, you're very blessed. Just know that. But at the end of the day, I wanted to prove to myself that I could find success in doing what I love. So I wasn't only just fueled by vengeance or validation. I wanted to mostly self-validate and become financially independent and build my own business eventually and live my dream life. That is my number one motivation. Even though that's not what I started with, every single life experience and life lesson that I had taught me something. So building a YouTube channel talking about what I know a lot about and becoming successful at it, becoming a content creator, was my best shot at doing what I wanted to do with my dream life. And I manifested that opportunity because I focus on myself. Our lives are just way too short to be working for other people, to spend 40 hours a week or even 60 hours a week working in an office that you're unhappy in environments that you don't like. And if you guys are interested in learning about how I became financially independent, as well as learning more about my story, I will will be making that video later on this month. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and like this video if you found it helpful. And I truly hope that you're going to get to where you want to be very quickly. And I want to hear from you guys in the comments, like what your experience is like, and also what other tips that I might have missed out in my video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next video.